Hello.
Hi, how does that
A
sound?
100% better. I'm so glad we could still do this. This is so great. Thank you for doing whatever you did.
Well, what I did is I went and I put my earbuds in. I thought maybe
Okay.
that would help, and it looks like it did.
Well,
Okay,
excellent.
so yeah, I think people can hear us. Let me just make sure. Adruna says they can hear us. Tarot Love and Magic says thank you for the jewelry. Now, this jewelry is a present from my friend from Goth to Boss. It's the perfect Valentine's Day thing to wear. But anyhow,
Oh, I love that.
for folks who are just tuning in right now, my name is Theresa Reed. I'm better known as the Tarot Lady, and I'm here with my dear friend Elliot Adam, and we are doing a Valentine's Day special presentation for you. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to talk about tarot. I see you, Honoria. Mwah. We're going to talk about tarot for romance and some of the questions people like to ask, what they come to a tarot reader
Mm.
for, what you shouldn't be asking. We're also going to be talking about Elliot's book, which this book is fat, by the way, y'all. Fat, F-A-T, and fat, F-A-A-T. No, P-H-A-T. Tarot in Love, which is the book on doing readings about your romantic life with tarot. So we'll talk about that. And then we are going to be doing some tarot readings dual for every sign of the zodiac. So you're going to get a Valentine's Day romantic forecast. Hi, gorgeous. Y'all, I think I saw Rosemary Apothecary and the Crooks Nook is here. Crooks Nook is here. Owner Rails here. Here's the deck I'm going to be using. I don't know what you're using, Elliot, but I'm going to be using the Victorian
Oh,
Romantic Tarot.
that's nice.
Yes, I thought about it. I said, I need a romantic deck. I was going to do the Goddess of Love Tarot, but I thought, you know what? This is the deck I'm going to use. What are you
I'm
using?
going to use the Connolly deck because I really like how the goddess on the front, she looks like Aphrodite, like Botticelli's Venus. So I thought we're just going to do that. It's colorful, it's light.
Yes. All right, so everybody, make sure you are following Elliot. Elliot is an amazing author. He's got a book, Fearless Tarot, Tarot in Love, and he has so many insights. He's one of the readers I trust the most. I've known
Mm,
Elliot for like 20 some years, I mean forever.
I
So
know.
the fact that he looks 18, don't be fooled. He's like Dorian Gray.
Well, it's the lighting, I think. I don't know.
But
Thank you.
anyhow, so you wrote this book, Tarot in Love, and I think, we can probably talk a lot about doing readings for folks about their love life. What would you say the percentage of people that come to you for readings, how much of percentage is it about love?
My goodness. Well, throughout my lifetime, I would say that at least 75% of the people you're going to see are going to ask about relationship questions. It's kind of tapered off a little bit more recently. I seem to get more of a variety of questions now, but especially when I was just getting started out, the number one question people had was about when will I find love? Or, is this person that I'm with the right person? Or
Mm.
sometimes even destructive questions like, when is this really abusive relationship partner going to come back to me and make me happy and fulfill me? And so that's one of the reasons I wrote my book, Tarot in Love, because I really wanted to give readers and people interpreting tarot an empowered view of how to approach relationship questions. Because if we're
Mm.
asking the tarot to affirm something that's actually making us disempowered, we usually just get in more of a quagmire. And so I really wanted to kind of steer people, not only, what does the King of Cups mean for your relationship partner? Does it mean he's good or bad, or she? But also, what is the King of Cups telling you about you?
Mm.
What do you need to learn right now in your own life? What's blocking you from the love that you really want to find? I really wanted to kind of do a deep dive and put the microscope back on the current.
I think a lot of people have this misconception, and a lot of this is about, we see like the way tarot is portrayed in popular media, that all we're doing is predicting when you're going to meet somebody. And
Mm,
it really is so much more than that. People aren't just coming to find the one when they approach tarot. And I think that misconception really harms tarot, makes it,
mhm.
I don't know, it just kind of cheapifies what tarot can do to help you around love. What do you think about that? What do you have to say about that?
Absolutely. I think in our industry, especially, tarot is marketed in a way that leads to a lot of confusion for relationship questions. So we'll look up in a tarot book and it'll say, oh, Ace of Cups, Two of Cups. That means this is my twin flame soulmate. And it doesn't matter if he's hitting me every weekend or if he's, cheating on me, and never coming back. And then I'm just waiting by the phone because we're meant to be,
Hmm.
because the card told me that that is the person I need to be with. And so I always try to tell people to take tarot with a little grain of common sense too.
Hmm.
Sometimes when we're looking for symbolism or tarot to tell us something we want to hear, we're blind to what the thing is right in front of our nose. And yet when
Hmm.
we use tarot as a mirror that can kind of help us magnify, well, what are we really learning right now about ourselves, and how do we empower ourselves? Well, that can be a lot more helpful. So definitely, I think tarot's marketed in a way that kind of gets people off the scent, off the trail to what they really need to do to find a relationship.
Hmm. Let me add healthy relationship.
Healthy relationship,
One of
yes.
the things I found, oh my God, I've seen a lot of beautiful people showing up. I just gotta wave real quick. One of the things when I used to read for the public, when people would approach tarot wanting to find love and the cards would show it, sometimes show the possibility. I want to say possibility because you can always goof something up too. But one of the things that I would find, people who approach tarot that way would then sit around waiting
Yeah.
for someone to show up. They'd be like, well, I tried nothing and nothing worked, or they would say, well, I didn't meet anybody, so those cards were wrong. And I would talk to them. I'd be like, well, what were you doing? And they were like sitting home, not really making any effort. I mean, tarot can show the potential, but you still have to take responsibility. And I always say, very tongue in cheek, that the only time love just shows up to your door is in fairy tales or porno movies. It doesn't happen like that in real life.
Yeah,
You
the
actually
Amazon
have,
driver never really looks that great, do they?
well,
So it's
we had a really hot FedEx delivery guy here for a while who looked like Billy D. Williams, but he retired, so he's gone. I
well,
don't
it
know
can
what they're like.
happen.
It does happen. But I mean, that is something, that we also have to think about when, I mean, prediction, I'm all about prediction, but when we are coming to tarot just from that perspective and we're like, I want a prediction, I want a guarantee, I'm going to meet somebody. And then what happens is a lot of people are going to sit around and wait for life to happen to them or wait
Mhm.
for love to happen to them instead of really doing the work on
Yeah.
themselves or doing the work on getting out there and making connections. That is a danger that can happen with those types of readings.
It's all about the energy we're wearing, isn't it?
Hmm.
And, when we're looking for love, let's imagine if we're self aware and we're like, I really need somebody. I need love. I need somebody to really make me feel complete. And where's my soulmate? Where's my soulmate? That is like love repellent. You
Hmm.
come up into life and show up like that, people are going to be like, get that away from me.
Yes.
But if you're living your best life and you're like, you know what? I'm involved in my projects. I'm going to school. I'm getting my career stuff going. I love my life. I love my friends. I love hanging out. I'm not even looking for a relationship, but that would be like the cherry on the sundae instead of my last meal. Well, that's a
Hmm.
different sort of energy. And people are going to say, who's that
Hmm.
person? I want that dynamic energy. I want that kind of person who really knows what they're worth. So when we're
Hmm.
looking to a partner to feed something endlessly that's needy or deficient in ourselves, we're going to find that love is constantly slipping through our fingers. But if
Hmm.
we're kind of, involved in our best life, enjoying what we're doing and making friendships and getting out and just showing that confidence, then it really kind of changes the game quite a bit. So it doesn't matter what cards you pick, to your point, if you're not doing the work on your best life and living your bliss, well, your energy is announcing a different sort of signal to people. And it might actually repel people if you're just there to be needy.
Yes, or it can attract the wrong types. The types who are
Absolutely.
going to look at that need. I always say, don't lead with your need, because it can also attract these people that are looking for somebody who's vulnerable
Yeah.
and not healthy themselves, and we don't
Mhm.
want that. A tarot reader wants, unless they've got an issue. I mean, there's tarot readers who have issues, but what we want generally is for you to have your best life, and that
Mhm.
includes a healthy relationship instead of just a relationship.
Yeah.
So I think that it's really important for people to understand when we are showing you that these are the possibilities. We're not saying go lead with your need to pick somebody like that. We want you to still be conscious and awake at the wheel. And that's what tarot can help you to do so that you can find that healthy type of a
Abs-
relationship.
Absolutely. I tell clients all the time, like, they're like, oh, I really like what this person does. They fulfill this need, they fulfill that need. Granted, they don't do this and they don't have a job and they don't do, that. And I don't really like that. Out of the 10 things on my list, they probably check about 7 boxes. I'm going to hang on to this because I need this person. It's better to have 7 out of 10 than nothing.
Hmm.
And I think, in school, what's a 70%? It's like a C. It's
Right.
mediocre. So why are you accepting a C rate relationship when you should be having A plus? And so sometimes it is about not settling.
Yes. I mean, it's better not to settle and to have a healthy life than to be in a situation that's really going to be destructive for you. So, as readers, also, we have a responsibility that when we are doing those readings about
Mm-hmm.
love, that we're not like telling somebody, hey, this is going to be good for you when it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I had a client many years ago that used to come to me, and this is a story, I'm telling you all like a cautionary tale. And she was dealing with a man who was very physically abusive and he always cheated on her. And she would only come to me when he cheated and left. And she would want to know, is he going to come back? And the cards always would show that it would come back. Yes, he's going to come back, but it's going to be the same.
Yes.
And the last time I saw her, notice the words I'm saying last time, he had left again. And here she comes in. She's just looking, really worse for the wear. And the card show, well, yeah, he's going to come back and it's going to be the same. And she's saying something, oh, good. And I said, well, why would you want that? You're being abused by this guy. He keeps cheating on you. She goes, well, that's all I've ever known. I've been
Mm.
abused all my life. That's all I've ever known. And I realized at this moment, this was early in my career too, that sometimes people are also coming to tarot for love questions and they're not in a good place and they're making these terrible decisions, and no matter what you're telling them or trying to help them, they still want that even if it's not good for them. What do you have to
Absolutely.
say about that?
Well, what I have to say about that is, as readers, you are going to get those questions. And I got them plenty as well. And sometimes we get those questions so much that as a reader, it starts to drive us crazy. We're like,
Mhm.
oh my God, I've read you 18 times and told you this guy is a jerk. He's going to just do the same thing over and over again. Why are you doing this? And then we have to stop and take a breath and remember a time in our own lives when we were waiting by the phone for that abusive relationship partner to call back, when we thought that our whole self worth hinged on that person's acceptance. And we have to
Mhm.
remember that, everybody in life is in a different stage, in a different place. And so, what I try to do is show some compassion. And even though this isn't the life stage I'm at anymore in my relationships, thank God, you
Mhm.
know what? I do remember what it's like to be there. And none of us is
Mhm.
perfect. And sometimes we do want that little nudge. Sometimes people are coming to a tarot reader because they're just saying, please help me. Even if
Mhm.
I'm not going to take your advice, I at least need to weigh some common sense. I need to hear some reality here because I'm getting gaslit. And so
Yes.
if we can just be that voice of reason and clarity and tell them straight up, here's what the facts are, then I think people are informed, they can make better decisions. And eventually, I remember getting my heart broken from a rotten person, and I went to my mother when she was alive. And I was just so like, oh, I can't stop thinking about him and blah, blah, blah. I said, Mom, when am I going to get over this? It just hurts so bad. And
Mhm.
she said, Elliot, one day you're going to wake up and you're just going to be sick of thinking about
Ooh.
him. And she was right. She was right. One day I woke up and I'm like, why am I wasting my life on this loser? I could be doing
Mhm.
this and this and this. And then I enjoyed my freedom. And I think that, eventually people get there. But if they've just been broken up with, if they're in trauma like you're talking about, and
Mhm.
maybe they don't know a better way, sometimes they're just coming to us to be a witness for another way.
Yes. And also the other thing I think is really important, we as readers have to understand that not everyone is going to approach relationships or breakups the same way that we do, which by the way, I'm the opposite of you. When I'm done, I'm just done.
Yeah.
I don't even look back. And that's just the way I operate.
I'm
I
a
think it's
Libra.
I know you're a Libra. I'm a Gemini, but I'm one of those people that when it's done, it's done. And I don't have this scarcity mindset. I always think, oh, there's always somebody else out there. So for me, that was always something that was very, very cut and dried. But like my sister is the opposite. My sister will hang on. And so I've learned that just because this is my style, and I'm going to say style, doesn't mean that it's necessarily the healthy choice. It's the healthy choice for me. And sometimes people hold on because they have to process those emotions and they've got to work through it in their own time. And there's no shame in that. If
Yes.
you are hanging on for a minute and working through those feelings, you gotta do it in the way that's best for you. However, there comes a point where it can be unhealthy, and then we got to seek help outside of tarot. And we got to know when the tarot is not helping somebody and when they need to seek outside support.
Absolutely. 100%. And, another thing, I don't know if you've noticed this with relationship readings over the years or if this has been your experience, but I noticed that in the beginning of a relationship, when someone comes to find out, well, where is this going to go and how good is this going to be? A lot of times in the beginning, I will get cards like Ace of Cups, Two of
Mm-hmm.
Cups, Ten of Cups. They look so blissful. And yet the person doesn't even know the person yet. And
Mm-hmm.
I think in my experience, it's because, in the beginning, you don't really know yet. And the tarot's
Yes.
just reflecting what you bring with you at the time of the reading. And if you're excited and feeling this, blissful, like, oh my God, there's a connection, it's going to show up in your cards.
Mm-hmm.
But don't people have to take that with a grain of salt, where it's like, that doesn't mean you're getting married
Yes.
and that this is all, destined to be. What was your experience with like new relationship readings?
The exact same thing.
Mm,
And the tarot does reflect back what you're feeling sometimes.
hmm.
And you're excited, you're into it. They're really hot and you're having a great time. Of course, then, when you're also emanating that energy, sometimes that can reflect back. So
Mm,
we have to remind ourselves when we're getting a reading about a new relationship that it is new.
mm.
It needs more time to develop, and the beginning stages are always the most exciting. And after you've been with someone 30 years, like I've been with Mr. Tarot Lady, we still get plenty of love here, but it's not going to be like necessarily that kind of energy.
Mhm.
And the other thing I also want to add for folks is that there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees. And you can change the romantic story if you don't like the direction it's going. And so can the other person in your
Yeah.
life.
Yep.
They can change things too. We cannot read, for the other person who's not present.
Yep.
And one of the stories I always love to illustrate is many years ago, I was dating somebody, and this particular person wasn't being honest. There was somebody else lingering in the picture. And I'm very straightforward. I'm like, listen, are we together? You with this one too? What's going on here? And he wasn't being straightforward at all. So
Mm.
I thought, I'm going to go get a tarot reading. I'll find out. And I got a tarot reading. And the tarot reader, I remember at the time, could tell I really had strong feelings for this guy. And she laid out the cards. And the only one I remember is the Three of Wands at the end. And she said, oh, he's going to pick you. It's all going to work out. And she's going to be on the outside looking in. But I looked at her, I'm like,
Mm.
really? And I went home and I dumped him immediately because again, that's how the tarot lady works. Like, nah, I don't do that. I'm not waiting. I'm not a pick me. I'm not a pick me. So I'm like,
Yes.
bye. But the funny thing is, he ended up being with her for a while. They had kids together and all of that. And we became friends again. And then many, many years later, we were hanging out in a pizza restaurant, him and I, and just, catching up on things. And all of a sudden, here she comes, and they had split up at that time. And she's standing outside the restaurant looking in, just like the Three of Wands. So I always laugh because the tarot really was right. But at that time, also sometimes the reader might see something and you can still make a different
Yes.
choice. And, she was telling me, he's going to pick you and da da da. And I'm like, no, no, no. We're about to change fate right now
Yes.
because tarot lady doesn't wait for no man. Mm-mm.
Well, we do dismiss things with tarot a lot, don't we? We'll pick a card and it's not what we expected, and we're like, must be wrong, must be a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes only hindsight reveals that, oh, actually, it wasn't a fluke. Oh, that's why I got the devil card there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I get it now, So sometimes our expectations really do get in the way, even when we're getting a reading, especially if you're a tarot reader and you're looking at the reader with their cards and they say Three of Wands means this, and you're like, no, it doesn't. Three of Wands
Mm-hmm.
means what I said it means. And sometimes you just have to open your mind and listen to what that reader's channeling, because they'll often give you the right answer, even if it's not the one you expected.
And oftentimes, you're bringing up such a great point too. Sometimes I don't say the cards are accurate, but sometimes our interpretation too, we're humans, or the way the person is hearing things might skew the interpretation. So like, for example, let's say new relationship, you're excited, you get the Ace of Cups. And you're like, oh my God, yeah, there's new love. And all you hear is that part. You think, oh my God, I'm fantasizing now. The glass slipper is going to be put on my foot. It's all going to be happily ever after. But it never got to that. It never said that. It just said this is a new relationship.
Yeah,
So we have to really, really remember that as well. The interpretation or what we're taking in can also have something to say about the predictive part of it.
absolutely. 100% agree with you.
Now, one thing I want to talk about, what are some of the questions that are really good to ask about love? Instead of asking, will I meet somebody? What do you advise people to ask instead?
I
Or maybe you take that question. I don't know. Tell me.
Well, I do take that question to a way, but what I really like is a question like, what's blocking me from finding love in me? What do I
Mhm.
need to improve in my life to open up the opportunity to find the person I'm really wanting? What's the blockage? What's the hang up? What's the thing that's getting in my way? Because it isn't, this book in heaven that's written all the things that are going to happen to you. And, in March of 2026, you're going to meet Charlie in a bar and it's all destined that day. So you just have to sit and wait for it. And the reader's going to pick up on it and say, hey, hang on till March 2025 or whatever. Then it's going to all be there. We can be really proactive with our own life, and we can really, ask questions that are a little more empowering rather than, does this person love me?
Mhm.
You know,
Mm.
that kind of question is kind of like, do you love you?
Mm.
Do you love you? So that's why I love my tarot and love book. I will tell you, what's the card mean for a new relationship? What's it mean for a long-term partnership, sex, intimacy, seeking love? But at the end of every chapter, but what is this card really teaching you about you? What's
Mhm.
your issue? What's your damage? What's your thing that you need to understand in order to make a better relationship life for yourself? What would you or have a person ask for an empowered question?
I've got a couple that I like. One I like is, what do I need to know about finding a healthy
That's
relationship?
a great
I,
one. I love
I'm
healthy.
Yes, because sometimes people will hear, I want a relationship, and they get one, and again, it's not a good
Hmm.
relationship, but you got one.
Yeah.
So that's like a really, really one of my favorite questions. Also, if you're in a relationship, what do I need to know to make this relationship better? How
Hmm.
can I show up for my partner in a way that also honors my needs? How can I be a better partner? These are things that we can ask about love that are, again, moving us towards something helpful and empowering instead of just saying, will I meet someone?
Hmm.
What can I do to find a healthy relationship? I just think that's so much better. I love adding healthy in there because,
Yes,
again,
I do too.
I'm not about just being in a relationship. I want to see people thriving in their relationships and having healthy
Yeah,
relationships. So I'm always focusing on
I
that. Is
love
it
that.
healthy? Now, the one question, let's talk about the questions you shouldn't ask.
When's he coming back?
No! All right, y'all. Tarot readers are going to tell you we don't like that question. And let me tell you something. There are some people on some social media channels, and I don't know these readers, who do these readings specifically about that. All they're doing is they're pulling cards. Like, he's thinking about you right now. He was thinking about you, but he can't come to you right now. He's going to come
So
back if he
manipulative.
can. I think that's terrible because it's preying on people's vulnerabilities.
Neediness.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
when is he leaving? His wife, Tally Straga, says
yeah.
yes. So that is never a good question because oftentimes then what happens is those readers are doing a
Oh,
big disservice. They're causing
yeah.
great harm to people. They're giving them false hope, and we never
Mhm.
want to do that as readers. We always want to make sure again that we are being honest in our readings
Mhm.
and kind and compassionate, and sitting there entertaining someone's notions about someone from 50 years ago isn't going to be good for them. I had
No.
a reading once with this woman, and she got a reading. She wanted to know about this guy coming back to her. And I just did the reading and I'm like, I don't see it. It seems, like this is just not blah, 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 whatever. And she was quiet and she says, oh, well, every other reader has been telling me that he's going to come back. And you're the only one who said no. And then she tells me that this is a guy she's been waiting on for 20 years. So she's
Yeah,
been going to these
yeah.
readers who've been feeding this fantasy rather than telling her honey, you got to let that go. If it's
Yeah.
meant to be, it'll work out. Let's get you moving in a healthy direction. Let's
Yes.
find out why you're hanging on to this. What's the reason behind that? That is much better than, will he come back?
Yes, a good reader with integrity is never going to feed the notion and perpetuate this idea that you need to go back to something destructive for you. I mean,
Mhm.
and there are so few qualifiers as readers. I find that time is a really good test for readers. The ones that aren't really that great, they kind of schleff off, over time, and so sometimes looking for someone with experience helps. But there isn't like a qualifier like, oh,
Mhm.
I can trust this reader because they went to school for 4 years in tarot reading and they can, give me this integrity based reading that's going to help me. You really do have to kind of, shop around
Mhm.
and trust your gut a little bit more and your common sense instead of just believing whatever anybody says,
Yes.
because there are people out there that prey on people and they do take their hopes. And I feel so sad for those people because
Mhm.
they're really coming to that reading for help and
Yep.
they're hearing things that are keeping them stuck.
Yes. Somebody mentioned about twin flames. A question I don't like is he my twin flame? Is she or
Hmm.
he my twin
Yeah.
flame? Is he or she my soulmate? Other questions, what is he or she thinking about me right now?
Hmm.
Do they love
Hmm.
me? I mean, these are questions that are not, again, healthy. We have to be having those dialogues with our partner instead of coming to a tarot reader. If you're coming to
Yeah.
a tarot reader to figure out if someone loves you, then that is saying there's something here in the relationship where the communication's not
Yes.
working well and you're not feeling
Yes.
secure. So let's go ahead and let's investigate that instead of
Yes.
asking, does he or she love me?
Yes. And sometimes people come to relationships with different expectations. Sometimes one partner really wants to settle down. And yeah, I notice this with a lot of younger people that are ready for a relationship. They're like going to the bars, meeting really hot people, but they're somehow fantasizing that this person who hasn't sown their wild oats is ready to get married right now. And they don't have the same expectations that this other person does. And so
Mhm.
sometimes just being aware that, hey, maybe this person's looking for something a little different than what I'm looking for. Maybe they're looking for sex and I'm
Mhm.
looking for love, and we're speaking two different languages. And I'm reading into everything they're doing and kind of making the sex about the love and
Mhm.
thinking that the sex proves that that person loves me when actually there's something else to it.
Yes. Another question I think is really unhealthy is he or she cheating on me?
Hmm.
First of all, you are looking in and doing some spy work now. And while tarot might be able to give you an indication of that, my bigger question when people ask that is, why are you asking this question?
Exactly.
What's going on here? Is it coming from a place of your insecurity? Are you seeing some proof? What is going on that you would ask such a question? I mean, I've been with Mr. Tarot Lady again a long time. I would never think to ask that question because I
Absolutely.
know he's he's just not that way. He's a typical Virgo. So I mean, he's not that way, so I don't have to ask that. But have I been with people where I've been suspicious? Yes, like the earlier story that I illustrated. And, I went to the tarot reader to try to get some guidance on the reading. And then immediately I'm like, I ain't going to sit around and try to figure this out. I'm
Yeah.
done, because I don't trust this person. I'm coming to the reader because I don't trust this person. And, that is the thing that was really standing out at that time. Wait a minute, you're coming here because you don't trust this dude. You
Yeah.
got to get the hell out, woman.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So those are questions I don't like. Um, and so when I gotta just ask you about this book. So again, for folks who are tuning in, Elliot wrote a book, Tarot and Love. This is the Tarot Bible for doing readings about love. I mean, this is such a great book. What propelled you to write this one though? Because Fearless Tarot was so awesome, and I thought, wow, now you're writing about how to do romantic readings. You're teaching people how to give fearless readings and fearless readings about love. I mean,
Yes.
what really got you to write this?
Well, it is the question that we're asked so often. And the information that was out there about cards that have to do with love, sometimes it was feeding those really just destructive things like just hang on. The Nine of Swords means he'll be back in 9 months after you have your heart broken and then you can mend it again later and blah, blah, blah. I thought there was a lot of disempowering messaging
Hmm.
around tarot and love. And I thought, how come no one ever wrote a book about a love reading that can help people find a healthy relationship, as you say? You
Hmm.
know, how come no one's writing about what's going on with the person? So I wanted to provide like a safe, compassionate space where
Hmm.
people can investigate some of these questions on their own in private, pull some cards on the person they're thinking about or about what they might need.
Hmm.
Or even there's a spread in the back about how to mend a broken heart, the steps
Yes.
you can take to start to put the pieces back together. You know, so I got tons of spreads in there about where's this relationship going? What's the direction? If I'm seeking love as a single person, what are the things I'm going to want to do to start to manifest that? And like I said,
Mhm.
each chapter is cut up into very like, I don't know, just doable bits where we're going to go in a love reading,
Hmm.
and then I'll have for a new relationship, for a long term, for your intimacy. So you get a quick reference guide. This is a thick book, but you don't read it cover to cover.
Right.
You know, you read the you read the intro and then you work with the cards and you play with it. It's more of
Hmm.
a fun way to just kind of get a snapshot of what that information is trying to tell you. So I just wanted to give people a resource that was easy to use, that got to the answer they were looking to right away, and did it in a way that was empowering.
It's a great book. And Fearless Authentic Tarot says, this book has elevated my relationship readings.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
that's the other
you.
thing I want
I
to add
love
for
Fearlessly
people.
Authentic Tarot. She's so wonderful.
Right? Here's the thing I want to add. If you are a professional reader, this is definitely a book you're going to want to add to your library, especially if you're a new reader, you're just going pro, because you're probably going to end up doing a lot of love readings. And we want to, again, not be that reader on some of these social media channels that just feeds fantasies. We want to give helpful information. And Elliot, I think your book is a book that belongs on every professional reader's shelf too.
Thank
So,
you.
folks, I'm going to
Oh.
tell you, if you are a reader, if you aspire to read for the public, you're going to want to get a copy of this book. Seriously. It's very, very good. The advice is really wise, and again, it's compassionate. And that's the kind of tarot readings we need to be offering.
Well, thank you, my friend. That's so sweet of you to say. I appreciate that. And, you know, quick story to everybody out there. My friend, the tarot lady here, is the one who really helped me get my first book, Fearless Tarot, published. We met at Reader's Studio, and I said, I'm writing a book and I don't know what to do. And you gave me such great, wise counsel. You wrote the foreword to it. And Theresa, I mean, I can't sing her praises enough. She got me back into tarot after 2015, 2017. Oh, that's cute. How did you do that?
It's if you have an iPhone, a newer iPhone, you can do that.
Kidding me? That's amazing. Mine probably isn't turned on, but
No, it
oh,
is.
it is.
We're sending each other a little love today, Elliot.
Well, I just showed my age because I don't even know how that works. So,
Thank you for those kind words. I mean, this is feeling like a little bit like a love fest. So thank you. I'm also going to tell people if you do have Elliot's book, please make sure you take time and leave an honest review on Goodreads, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, because that is going to help. It's going to help the author, but it's also going to help more people know about this book and know if it's a book that's right for them. So you're helping people select that. And I think professional readers definitely need to get this book. Now, I also want to, of course, plug my own little book real quick, but then we're getting to some
yes,
tarot
you
readings.
better.
The Cards Are Dealt is a book that may sound kind of like, oh my God, this is like the opposite of tarot and love. This book is about reading for the hard things in life, grief, loss, heartbreak. And so this actually is a book for self-love, for living in the moment and healing yourself. Because if we are also carrying around a lot of old scars, like let's say from an old toxic relationship, or maybe a loss that really hit us hard, sometimes if we have not healed that work, we are then again putting ourselves in a position where either we're blocked for bringing in good love, or maybe we are trying to fill a need that we haven't dealt with within ourselves. So that book could help you for that, folks, for the inner work. So definitely make sure you check that out. Together, it's a great duo for inner work, shadow work, and love work.
Absolutely. And I will piggyback on that and say I love the manuscript of the cards you're dealt. It's absolutely brilliant. And when we are in a healthy relationship and you do find that you go through a long time with a person, you are going to have to deal with the cards you're dealt. Because relationships, it isn't you meet this person, you get married, and then it's just happily ever after. There's no life problems. No,
Yes.
you're going to caretake an elderly parent one day. You're going to deal with a person when they're ill. You're going to deal with all sorts of family issues. And so I absolutely think that's a great book for
Mhm.
relationship readings too, because if a relationship is substantive, you're going to be facing a lot of the same stuff
Yep.
together.
And I mean, I've been, like I said, with Mr. Tarot Lady for many years, and we've dealt with things like illness. We've had to deal with caregiving, caregiving
Mhm.
parents,
Mhm.
dealing with, raising kids and stuff. There's a lot of complex things that happen after.
Yeah.
So when we think everly after, actually, now we got to do the dishes, the laundry. We have to talk about all these different life stages that we're going to go through together, losing pets. I mean, we've gone through a tremendous amount of things. And I will say one thing, tarot has been very helpful. It has helped me and him move through some really hard things. Last year was really tough. We had a very hard year for our family. We're stronger than ever because, we really had to work on things. It's always work, and tarot just helps makes the work a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the sugar and the medicine to make it go down so we
Yep.
can heal. And then when we're healing, which we're always trying to heal,
Yeah.
right? Then we're showing up as more loving, more open-hearted. And I think that is really, really the best way to show up, but it takes work to get there.
Well, I love it. And I love your book, my dear. And I'm so glad that you brought that up today because I think it's important.
Yep, we got to always remember the thing like RuPaul says, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? We have to love ourselves. We have to care for ourselves. We have to heal ourselves. And sometimes what happens when you're in relationship with somebody, it really brings up things so you can heal it too.
Oh,
You
God,
know,
yeah.
I mean, even with my kids, we have things come up and it's like, oh my God, that's an old thing I have to heal. Thank you for bringing that lesson up. So we're always healing, and relationships are one way that we can experience that. So if we look at relationships through the lens of healing and communication and really being open-hearted, I mean, so much can happen.
Relationships are mirrors for us, and they really do illuminate our blind spots. And so it is helpful, whether it's a love relationship or, as you say, your family relationship. It's like, oh, I'm doing that thing again. Now
Mhm.
I'm a little more self aware because I'm seeing it reflected in that relationship playing out again
Yes.
with this other individual. They're teachers for all of us.
Yes, and I love that you say that. I think you're right on with that. Again, relationships, we learn so much through being around other people, not just our love relationships, our
Mhm.
kids, our pets, our coworkers, our
Mhm.
peers. We're always learning something from the people around us. No man is really an island. I like to say I live the recluse life, but there's plenty of people that are in my world teaching me things, and we're always learning from each other. So anyhow, Elliot, are you ready for some tarot readings?
Yeah, I think I am for all the astrological signs. That sounds like fun.
Yes, and so the deck I'm using is the Victorian Romantic Tarot. It's by Baba Rock Studios. Baba Rock Studios made my favorite deck of all time, which is the Baroque Bohemian
Oh,
Cats Tarot. This
I didn't
deck,
see that.
oh my God, I love that deck. This deck is so gorgeous. It's also just museum quality. It's a big, big deck, and it is gorgeous vintage art. So let's
Oh.
shuffle them up. So we're going to give you all a Valentine's love forecast. And we're going to be showing you for every sign of the zodiac, what do you need to look out for? What do you need to work on? What opportunities are there? And hopefully these readings are going to inspire and help you. Benny is not here right now. Benny's out on a date. I don't know who he's dating today. It might be Crooks Nook. He might be with Bruja Lily Tarot. Y'all know Benny's a player. Valentine's Day is his
I
day.
wanted to hear the Benny song. Man, come on.
You can still sing it, Elliot.
Okay. Benny
Uh,
the goat. Yeah.
Jay Demented off, I hope I got the name right, asked what my favorite deck of all time. My favorite deck of all time is the Baroque Bohemian Cats Tarot by Baba Rock. Ooh, these cards are ready. They can feel spicy today, too. I'm going to have to get myself some extra chocolate after this. Yeah, Benny's on a hot date, Yogi around the world. Runa, he's by you? Oh my God. What's going on with Runa, Troy, and Benny? I did not know. All right, sip of tea, and then we're going to begin. Hi, Pings and Pivots. Yes, Chelly Ellis. Betty is something else. All right, Aries.
All right.
I got the Empress. What did you get?
Oh, I got the Six of Pentacles. How interesting. So you start with Aries here.
I'll start. So for Aries, when I see the Empress, this means the most important thing you could be doing is really pampering yourself. Now,
Mm.
Aries, we know you're fiery. We know you're all about excitement and passion. And the Empress is connected with passion, by the way. So, of course, you want to be putting a lot of passion into your relationships. But I think your relationship with yourself really needs to be about pampering, doing the things that make you feel passionate and alive and make you feel hot. The more you're doing that to you, the more you're attracting more of the love that you want. So the Empress says, nurture yourself and your fire as well as you nurture others,
Oh, I love that so much. And what a beautiful Empress card, too.
right?
This is the Connolly deck I'm using, and I picked the Six of Pentacles, and you can kind of see this sort of like serene lady way in the back with the, eyes closed amidst the crowd. I'm kind of getting a feeling from this card. It's like you're needing to attune with what's sacred, what's magical, what's loving in you. Just open to it. If you've been kind of like tight and struggling and fighting against life, this card can just say, just open to it. Don't be a
Mm,
block for this energy to come in. Be in the crowd and just let that flow to you, and you'll attract the right people and you'll repel the ones you want to keep away. And this card can also indicate that you want to see the
mhm,
sacred in other people.
mm.
Don't make flip judgments about how someone appears on the surface. Give it a chance, listen out, and see if there's something a little deeper there that you might not have seen originally.
Mhm. Right on. And I will say one thing when you mentioned about being open, I always think of a fist.
Mm.
If a fist is closed, I mean, you can't receive.
Yes,
You've got to open it up if you want to receive.
yes,
All right, Taurus. Now, Taurus is ruled by Venus. The moon is in Taurus today. So good for
yes,
Valentine's
it
Day.
is.
Oh, Queen of Swords. Mm. Now, here's the thing with Taurus. Taurus, we know you're always in your heart and you're also in your loins. But this card says sometimes we got to be logical about our relationships. It's really important to bring that in there because what is the thing with Taurus? Taurus sometimes can hold on far longer than they should. They're not always good at cutting cords. They remember they like to be possessive. So knowing when to cut cords, knowing when to, be logical, that's going to help you to continue to make good choices and have healthy relationships.
Absolutely. And I picked the Six of Wands for Taurus. And this is all about the energy they're wearing. It's sort of like you need to be really conscious, Taurus, of how are you showing up in the world? Are you showing up with this excellence, this confidence, this sense of like, limitlessness that the Six of Wands embodies? Or are you kind of shrinking down or kind of going backward? And I think even coupling that with that Queen of Swords, I get a sense of like, it's time to promote yourself.
Ooh.
It's time to put your best foot forward, be confident. It's time to take space. It's
Mm.
time to put on something gorgeous and step into the room and command the energy. There's a confidence with both of these cards that I really like.
Yes. I would also say for older single Tauruses, especially take up all the space. Don't
Yes.
shrink. Okay, don't shrink, older Tauruses who are single. Mm-mm. And there's no bull about that.
That's true.
All right, Geminis. Now, my fellow Geminis. Elliot, why? I this is my least favorite card, the Five of Swords.
Oh,
Okay,
oh.
so what does that mean for Geminis? Okay, Geminis, have you had some disappointments with people? Not just your romantic partner. Maybe there's been a peer who's been a backstabber, or maybe you've been dealing with like old stuff in the family, that dynamic that keeps coming back and back. This is saying there's something here within you this year that really feels like maybe, there's been a disappointment, you've been hurt, and you're still carrying that around like a badge of honor. So for my Gemini friends, we want to release those old stories. We want to let that energy go so we can welcome in
Mm.
new love. Now, the other thing with the Five of Swords, because it is a card of honesty and dishonesty, how are you being honest about your needs with people? Are you telling them what you need? Are you also playing a game? Because Gemini sometimes always have somebody waiting in the wings. This is a good year to work on being honest with the people that you love. I mean, if you want to be in a relationship with more than one person, be honest about it. Don't play
Yeah.
games, Gemini. Playing games may seem like fun, but in the long run, someone's going to get hurt. So, a lot of loaded energy for my Geminis. We got work to do, friends.
And I picked the Ace of Pentacles for Gemini. And, I love that I picked this because, well, number one, aces are always good in a tarot reading. And it's like getting an ace in a poker game. And it does indicate that it's time to change the energy and bring something new. But for me, pentacles, you look up pentacles online or in tarot books, it's always money, it's about job, and it can mean that.
Mm-hmm.
But in a love reading, what pentacles really have to do with is our sense of worth and worthiness. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we couple that with that Five of Swords message, this is a time to start over. It's a time to affirm what you're worth. It's a time to get away from any messy energy that's keeping you away from that. And also, it can indicate that if you work toward your career, your life purpose, the thing that gives you bliss, you're inadvertently going to find the love you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. I would also say with these two cards, Gemini, if you're with somebody who's not worth it, there
Mm.
is plenty of fish in the damn sea for you. I mean, Gemini always, like I said, they always got someone waiting in the wings.
That's right.
All right, my beautiful Cancers. Oh, Cancer, we've got the Ace of
Oh,
Cups. This year does feel like there's some kind of new energy for Cancers. Now, that means
hmm
maybe for some of you single Cancers, you're ready to get out there and put yourself back on the dating pool. For Cancers who are partnered, this could be a year where your relationship deepens. And for some Cancers also, your relationship with yourself this year, you might be going through this amazing phase where you're learning to love yourself. You're learning to embrace who you are. So I just see love is all around you. Love is within you. Cancer, let
oh,
love rule. Let
oh.
love rule this year. Ooh.
And to double up on the good news for Cancer, I picked the Star card. And the star, it appears in the major arcana after all the rotten cards. So it's like after we go through the Hangman and the Death card and the Devil and the Tower, well, then we come out with the star. It's the light at the end of the
Mhm.
tunnel. And what this indicates is that there's new hope, there's a new possibility. You're getting let out of the dark. And for me, the star is also kind of Aquarian. We're in
Mhm.
Valentine's Day in the middle of Aquarius. Sometimes that Aquarius energy of friendships, distant people, networking, that might inadvertently lead you to the love you're looking for. So if you're being asked out, even just by friends, go, be
Yes.
out, mingle. That might kind of get you out there and it might start to take some of that pressure off. And I just feel like, yeah, really hopeful year for love for Cancer, especially if they want something new.
Mhm. Cancer, I'm all about that. Now, I think Gemini should have got that card, but all right, whatever. All right, Leo. Leo. So, Leo, we've got the Eight of Pentacles. First of all, for Leo, you're going to love your work this year. You're going to love what you're doing. And, when I see the Eight of Pentacles, it indicates you might be really into your career. And if you're into your career, you could find yourself getting lost in your work and not making time for those relationships, Leo.
Mm.
Now, sometimes some people get busy as a way to avoid things. And maybe, Leo, you've been hurt, you've been disappointed, or maybe you really are just busy and in love with your career. So I want you to make sure that you're making time for love, whether that means meeting someone new, making time for your partner, or maybe making time to pamper and love yourself. All work and no play makes Leo a very dull cat.
I love that. And I picked the Justice card. And, justice for me, it's about truth, it's about honesty. Not only is this a card of being honest with others and really saying, this is what I need, but it's also a card of really being honest with yourself and
Mhm.
asking yourself, what do I really want? What do I really need? What's really blocking me? You know the answer already. You don't even need a tarot card to tell you what's
Mhm.
going to jumpstart your life and get it moving in that right direction. So I just feel with justice, it's a time for balance, but it's also a
Mhm.
time for truth. It's a time to just be honest with yourself.
Right on. I love that. Be honest with yourself and also work-life balance, Leo. Work-love life balance. Someone's asking about my deck. It's the Victorian Romantic Tarot. It comes in a wooden box, which I really love.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh,
Talk
they
about
make such,
pampering
I know,
yourself.
they make such beautiful decks. All right, next up, Virgo. Ooh, Virgo, the Three of Wands. Now, single Virgos, this is the card that says, let's get out there, put yourself on display. Now, here's the one thing I'm going to say about Virgos. And I live with a Virgo. Virgos are sexy as hell. They are sexy as hell. People say, oh, it's the Virgin, they're uptight. Like, Virgos pay attention to details. Virgos are sexy as hell. And look at this card. This dude has got a trumpet. It's like, look at me, I'm here. So Virgo, put yourself on display. I think you're sexy as hell. And let the world see that if you want love, Put yourself out there. But even if you're in a relationship, let your partner know, I'm here, I'm ready to get it on. Put on that sexy kimono. I mean, bring out the wine. Virgo, I love this. Hey, Dee, good to see you. I love this for you. Be seen. Let people know you have arrived, Virgo. Don't be shy.
Oh, Teresa, I can't handle you. You're so funny. I love it. Um, I picked the strength card, and for me, strength is about believing in your strength, but it's also a card of getting a little more
Mhm.
physical. This could be a time when you're getting physical that way, but also working out, changing your health. Virgos have really sensitive immune systems, I've noticed, and they tend to internalize a lot of what's going on around them. So anything that strengthens your body, gets you back into your body and out of your head, out of any kind of like, oh, I've got to worry about this, get more physical. I think that's
Mhm.
really going to be the answer this next year to kind of part the gray clouds that might be around love life.
I'm gonna have to tell Mr. Tarot Lady to get physical. Let's get physical, physical. Sorry. All right, Libra.
Oh,
Oh, Libra, the Four of Cups. I mean, what a Libra card, right?
mm,
This is a card that is about celebration. And so for Libra, celebrate your love, celebrate with the ones you love. I mean, really, if you're single, get out, go to the party, get on the dance floor, shake your groove thing. This is such a card about social activity and celebration. Some Libras also might be getting married
mm.
this year, or maybe you're ready to take a relationship to the next level. Don't be afraid. We know you love all that romantic stuff. And this card, I mean, you could be attending weddings, having a wedding, meeting someone new on the dance floor. This year is all about let's get out and be social, Libra, because that's where the fun is and that's where the love
Yeah.
is.
Yes, and I'm a Libra too, and I appreciate that message. I picked the Page of Swords, and for me, the Page of Swords can come up. You know, he's got that sword upraised. He's so defensive. He's on guard. He's not letting things in. So, Page of Swords for me can say it's time to lower unnecessary defenses. Maybe it is time to socialize and get out there a little bit more. Maybe you're being too guarded or too worried about getting your heart hurt. You might even be in a relationship and find that you're kind of pushing away that person when you need to
Mhm.
be opening up to them. So I just feel with the Page of Swords, you know, he's one of the most intelligent cards in the
Mhm.
tarot. He's got a rationalization for everything, but sometimes we got to get out of our head and open our heart.
Yes, amen, Libra. All right, Scorpios, the sexiest sign of the zodiac. I like to say, I got two by accidents. We always got to go with two. Oh, we got the lovers and the two of wands. Well, Scorpio, this bodes well for you. I mean, the lovers, when we see that in tarot, we always think, oh my God, relationships. And the two of wands is an interesting card because the figure is standing off by themselves. And so when
Mm,
I look at this, I do see this. Here's the thing with Scorpio. Scorpios are very private. Okay. They're very guarded. You have to earn their trust. And I almost look at this combination as like, you know, maybe Scorpio, you don't need to hold back like this figure is doing so much. Maybe you don't need all the mystery, the cloak and dagger. Maybe the best way to get love is to be more straightforward. And I think this year there's great opportunities to get your needs met. And you don't have to play coy, you don't have to play guessing games. Your partner doesn't need to be a mind reader. Or if you're single, that new person, you don't need to keep them guessing. Yes, mystery can be sexy, but sometimes we got to lay it bare and not hold back. And that's the energy I'm seeing here for Scorpio.
oh, I love that. And, you know, sort of similarly, I picked the Hierophant for Scorpio. And I loved writing about the Hierophant archetype in Tarot and Love, my book, because I find the Hierophant is a little prudish. He's a little
Hmm.
shy. He's a little held back. There could be even a sense that he's a little guarded because he's looking for tradition.
Hmm.
And piggybacking off of what you're saying, I'm kind of feeling like it is a time to take a little bit of a chance, open up a little bit more, show some of that confidence a bit more. Don't be so cautious. But also, the Hierophant can be a little fixed. It can be
Hmm.
very rigid. It's like, these are my beliefs. This is the way it's going to be. It's my way or the highway. You might need to be a little more flexible, Scorpio. It might be time to open your mind and bend a little.
Yes. You know, I've got a moon in Scorpio. Mr. Tarot Lady always says there's parts of you that no one gets to
Mm-hmm.
access ever. Like he says it
Mm-hmm.
all like dramatic too. And
I love it.
that's very true with Scorpio folks or people with strong Scorpio placements. Really opening up and again, that the B word, vulnerability. It's not easy for Scorpios, but you get so much more depth, and that's what Scorpios want. They want depth. Well, you got to get vulnerable first.
Yeah.
Now, Sagittarius, the Eight of Wands. Now, the Eight of Wands, if you are single, this is always a card of lots of potential. So for Sagittarius who are single, get your butt out there. There is so much coming at you. The energy could be really amazing. There could be whirlwind affairs, flings. There could be exciting new people, love letters, sexy texts. All of that is possible for Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, a lot of times you like to, or maybe not that you like to, but your life feels like a rom-com. And I think there's a lot of excitement and fun and adventure. And this is a year to live it up, let your fire burn brightly. And there's going to be plenty of excitement for Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, get out there, enjoy it.
I have another 8 for Sagittarius in the 8 of Cups. And for me, the 8 of Cups is sometimes a card of soul searching. It's a card of getting really clear on what it is that you authentically want and who you authentically are. And coupling with that 8 of Wands energy that Teresa's talking about, I just kind of feel like this is your year to take a chance, take a shot on what your authentic self is really calling you to do. It's going to be those activities that open the world to you and really lead towards your heart's bliss. They got to be real. They got to be authentic. And it's time to move on it.
I love that. All right. Capricorns, are you still with us, Capricorns? Any Capricorns still left? We're getting to the end, y'all. We're almost there. Capricorn, the 10 of Cups.
Aww.
I mean, Capricorns get a reputation for wanting a traditional relationship. And for many, many beautiful Capricorns, this year that might be a possibility. I mean, this could be the year where maybe you're ready to settle down. Maybe you're ready to put a ring on it. Maybe you're with somebody that you are finally feeling like, I can trust, I can open up. This is authentic. This is comfortable. This is home. And so for Capricorns, think about home. Who makes you feel comfortable? Who makes you feel at home? And also when it comes to your friends, this is a great year to connect with your friends, Capricorn, to celebrate them, and also to spend time with your family or your chosen family. The biological family isn't always great, but family, friends, and when it comes to love, does this make me feel at home?
I love it. And I got 2 of Cups, which is just such a great love card. 2 of Cups for me is about compromise, but also communication. And part of communicating too is listening. It's not just speaking your point of view, it's also being receptive to what others are saying. I feel for harmony in relationships for Capricorn, it's really going to come from listening, from meeting your partner or potential partner where they're at, but also from opening up and communicating. Don't wait for that person to come up to you. Say, hi, I'm Mrs. Capricorn, or whatever your name is, And it's just important that you're kind of putting that, first foot forward, best foot forward. But I just feel with 10 of Cups, 2 of Cups, I mean, what great cards for relationships. This is a really great time to work on intimacy and partnerships with others.
Yep. And for some of you Capricorns, if you're in a good relationship, don't let it get away.
Yes.
Put that ring on it. Do it. Come on, Capricorn.
Don't take it for granted.
Capricorn, we love you. All right, next up, Aquarius. Aquarius, we got 2 cards for you too. We got to go with it. The High Priestess and the King of Swords. I mean, this shows someone who's really in their head a lot. And that's typical for Aquarius. I'm looking at a certain Aquarius in my life. You know who you are. They're in their head. And so, here's the thing. Aquarius is very idealistic about love. They want things to be really intellectually stimulating. They want that friend connection. They want all of that. But if you are sitting in your head the whole time, you're not feeling everything down below the neck. So for Aquarius, there's nothing wrong with wanting intellectual rapport, which you need. But make sure that you are also bringing your heart into the equation. And for those who think Aquariuses don't have a heart, that's not true. They have a big heart, but everything gets filtered through the mind first. And I see you doing that and overthinking relationships. If you're overthinking it, Aquarius, don't be surprised if you get friend zoned.
Yeah, and picked two for Aquarius as well. How weird is that? Aquarius gets like a bonus
Right
reading today. I got the
on.
Five of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Five of Cups for me, you see that figure looking at the three spilled cups, and he's like, doesn't that suck? The spilled cups. I can't stop looking at it. And he's completely neglecting the two cups behind him that are still standing, that are intact. And to Teresa's point, if you're in your head too much and you're looking at the losses and you're ruminating on the thing that's disappointing, you're not seeing the gains. You're not seeing what's working in your life. Same with Wheel of Fortune. There's two parts of the wheel. There's the edge where people are rising and falling, and the edge of the wheel represents other people, external events we don't have control over. And you're going to be doomed to go up and down on that wheel if you attach yourself too much to how does that person feel about me? What do they think about me? And Wheel of Fortune always tells you to get to the hub of the wheel, the center, know your power. And in your center, even what Theresa was saying, below the neck, get in your chest more, get out of your head. You're going to find that some of that crazy is going to go on around you, and you're just going to be in the eye of the storm.
Right on. Ooh, Aquarius. And next up, Pisces. Pisces is the Hierophant. Pisces, first of all, you know so much about compassion. Pisces is the sign of compassion. You're teaching us all by your beautiful compassion example. The way you show up in the world, we all need to show up like a Pisces, especially these days with all the things that are happening out there. So energetically, when I see this card, I see you teaching so many other people about relationships. One of the things, though, with this card is there are people who are teaching you things this year, too. So it's really important in all of your relationships, even with kids, look at what you're learning from them. I mean, you set the example, of course, but others are also setting an example for you as well. So this year, you've got a lot to teach about relationships and a lot to learn about relationships. That feels like a pretty juicy thing for you, Pisces.
Yeah, and I picked the Four of Cups. And on the Four of Cups, we got this figure. He's kind of under a tree. He's worried about the future. He's thinking about the past. And he's completely blind to his power in the present. There's that angel coming to him, offering him the golden cup. And yet, if he's so stuck in his head, he can't see it. And so for you, Pisces, I really feel like it's time for you to be aware, to be grounded in the present. The present is where your power is. It isn't in some future happily ever after. It's not pining after the past. It's now. So this is a card of saying, take the gift, take the thing being offered to you now, be now. And that's where your breakthrough is going to come from.
Yes, and I would also say with this combination, if you're going to a tarot reader and asking if they're going to come back, you're going to get spanked by that tarot deck. Don't do that, Pisces. All right, you all. Well, that is your little Valentine's Day special. I hope that Elliot and I were able to give you some guidance about what to ask tarot, what not to ask tarot, how we really feel about healthy relationships and what we're trying to help people with tarot readings. I hope you enjoyed these little mini tarot readings for every sign of the zodiac. And of course, I want to remind you all to get yourself a Valentine's Day gift. Get Tarot in Love. This is Elliot's book. It's fantastic. It's for people who want to learn about how to use tarot for their love lives, but it's also for professional readers who want to deliver healthy readings for their clients. Healthy love relationship readings. You need this book. If you have the book, take a moment, Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, leave an honest review. And also for your inner work and your self-love, don't forget, The Cards Are Dealt, How to Deal When Life Gets Real. Both of these books are available wherever books are sold, online or off. And also, this is what I want for Valentine's Day. For Valentine's Day, please leave a review, an honest review on Amazon, Goodreads, or Barnes & Noble. Show me some love. That would mean a lot to me. Authors really depend on that, so please, please do. Elliot, I'm so grateful that you are my friend, and thank you for spending time with me on Valentine's Day. I know you could be with Jacob having the time of your life, but you made time for me, and I just appreciate you so much. Thank you.
I appreciate you so much, and thank you so much to help me promote my book. And I also do have signed copies available on my website, elliotoracle.com. I can gift wrap those and send those right out to you. But Theresa, I want to thank you again for your many years of friendship. We're going on 30 years almost. So that's pretty crazy.
I know. I have
Yes,
known you that long. I've known you almost as long as I've been with Mr. Tarot Lady. So y'all, I
right,
mean,
right.
there's nothing like old friendships. It is the best because when you've got someone in your life a long time, a long friend, that love only grows. So Elliot, you are like a total Valentine. Thank you, thank
Thanks
you.
for
Mwah, I
being
love
mine. I
you.
love you. I love you too. Thank you. And thank you all for showing up and listening.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Don't forget to follow Elliot at Elliot Oracle, and I will see you all around, and Elliot will see you all around. And have an amazing Valentine's Day. All the love to all of you. Don't forget again to love yourself today. Please do something nice for you. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Mwah.